it's going. Do you guys want to join in on the podcast? Which side do you want to sit on?
I don't care. What side?
I guess that's the easier side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want the inside place or the outside place?
I don't care.
Okay, let's just go.
Do you want the inside then? Go.
I can run away from
Yeah, you can.
the outside.
Well, yeah. If you get tired, do you want to be able to sit on the outside? If you want to.
It's okay. I'll stand till the end.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to do the goodbye part. Like a ciao, mama. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yes, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Buy our merch.
Yes.
Do you have merch?
Not yet. People have been making me t-shirts. Like, my mom made me a Sketchy Van t-shirt.
That's adorable.
And then my friend Christina made me a Sketchy Van t-shirt.
Very nice.
Very exciting. What up?
Am I okay?
Is it too bright?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. Sick. Okay, so I'm going to be constantly checking this camera because it turns off every 20 minutes, but that one's fine.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. And this is going. Okay. I think we're officially recording a podcast.
Oh.
Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I guess. Oh no.
That's too much pressure. Okay, well, I'll start with I met you.
I can start if you want. And do I need to look in the camera?
I guess I just look at me, but
okay, I'll just look at you.
Yeah, maybe one eye could go here and then the other.
Yeah, I'm a Italian cyclist. My name is Dario.
Yeah.
And I once found a bazooka on the side of the road.
Nice.
And that's it.
Nice. That's good.
Oh, and I'm Ren. I'm an illustrator and a fashion illustration instructor, and among other multitude of things.
Have you ever found a bazooka?
I have never found a bazooka.
Okay. Yeah, get out of this podcast.
I'm like, I gotta go. Not gonna be anywhere as interesting as that.
Yeah, this is a bazooka only podcast.
Bazooka only.
Well, I guess the way I usually start this is like I usually talk to artists and drawing people all the time, but it's not really about teaching art or telling people how to get into the industry or anything. It's way more about like the why of doing all this stuff. It's like why like I met you today, right? like just a few hours ago. It's like why like you're cycling from San Francisco to I guess the bottom of Baja, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why would you do that? And then for you, it's like, you have spent years as an artist, doing things. It's like it's harder to be an artist than it is to be an accountant, right? And you also spent years like living in Europe, living, if you're okay talking about it, like living in France, living in, all those places. And it's like, why pursue doing all these creative endeavors when it's easier to just like get an accounting degree and be an accountant,
I mean, I don't know if it would be easier.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it would be.
Well, I guess.
I think it would actually be.
Yeah.
I'm too like neurotic, and
Right.
I think I need too much change that I think I would go crazy.
I know for sure I'd get fired.
Yeah.
In a second.
100%.
But it's like I always think like I wish there was I talked to a bunch of people about this, but I wish there was a part of me that could force myself through the trouble and the stress of going through an accounting degree because I know it would be better for my life just to make more money, be more stable. Like essentially what I'm saying is I wish I could find as much fulfillment in being an accountant than I could with art, and realizing that I actually can't do that has been a very strange existential thing. It's like to observe something objectively and be like, oh, I wish I was that way, and not being able to do it is like a weird thing to observe about yourself, and
I've always thought about my parallel possible lives,
right.
And sometimes I just think why I hadn't taken a degree in chemistry. I was really good, for example, but I always think that the thing you are not doing is every time the thing you will do. But then if you were doing that thing, you were asking yourself why I didn't do the other thing.
Yeah.
So if I was doing chemistry, maybe I was asking myself why I'm not doing urban planning. And so I just find out that it's better to be where you are and do what you want and not think about how much money would you have right now. If you're okay with what you're doing, sometimes it's even, it's a struggle to not have money or resources, but you can thrive in that environment. I don't know, sometimes the fences we have or the hurdles we have to overcome are what are making us a better person or a better professionist. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I guess the thing I'm trying to identify is like, how do you overcome the fear of, one, comparing yourself to other people and getting over the idea of a better outcome for your life that you're not on right now, and how do you get over the fear of, just social judgment in general, And I think it's one of the scariest, like, for me, I think we talked about this before, but starting a podcast is really anxiety-inducing. I get horrible social anxiety, And the idea of, like, being on a podcast where I'm talking to people for hours was like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, shit. Like, and doing it, it's like, oh, why wasn't I doing this before, you know? It's like, why haven't I been doing this for years? And then it's like, I realize that there are a bunch of things in my life like that. It's like, that I'm still afraid of right now that I'm like, oh, once I do it, I'll gain the momentum on it, but I'm still procrastinating, And yeah, again, I think it's like, I think everyone struggles with that. It's such a strange...
I think it's because fear is like the greatest cause of procrastination.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm lazy in this. It's usually because it's like an internal fear of something.
Right.
Like, oh, if you procrastinate on something that will really help you or you want, it's usually just like, I'm scared of that what the result will be, or of like if I'm good enough, if I'm capable enough, if I'll even want it when I get it.
Right.
And so I think that's natural.
Of course, you're never going to fail if you're never going to try. It looks like one of the phrases you can find on the blackboard in the help yourself.
You miss 100% of the
project. The kind of stuff that Michael Scott has on the blackboard.
Absolutely.
But this is just words. But of course, you sometimes you find yourself to prefer not to do something in every field of your life, your work, your feelings, because then when you just jump, there's no coming back usually.
Absolutely.
You can, if you sell everything you have in your house to set a podcast studio and then the podcast just flop, what can you do? And maybe it's not even your fault, but you have to think about the consequences and the self-esteem.
Well, and I think a lot of it is about perspective, Like I meet a lot of people who went into art. Like I went into art to be a concept artist in video games, and I'm not that. It's like, am I a failure?
Yeah.
From one perspective, absolutely, From the other perspective, no, it's like I found other things I liked more, And like I have, this podcast like gets between like 200 to like 4,000 views, and it's dependent on who's actually on and who shares it and all that kind of stuff. The algorithm is complete nonsense. It's completely random. And I guess it's like not telling, even knowing all that stuff, it's difficult to not tie my internal validation to how many people are listening to what I have to say on this thing, There you go.
I was just saying, it's like, I think it's a lot of like, trying, again, this is something I think everyone battles with, but doing things for yourself rather than for, and like, I know it's just such an easy, like, oh, just do it for yourself, it's fine. And it's like, that's not an easy concept sometimes to like rationalize, but I try to, like, for me, I always think posting any of my work is challenging. And so how I've reworked it in my brain to make it less challenging is like, oh, you know what? Doesn't matter what anyone thinks. For me, it's like a diary of like my progress.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And I've just switched that thinking and like, okay, no, if people like it, that's cool. That's great. If they don't, oh well, it's my progress. It's my stepping stones to get to, you know, wherever I will be in the future. And so I think thinking of everything as just like one step in the right direction. Like even things that may not be positive, like you have a horrible boss, you have a horrible time at a job, and it's just like the worst month of your life, and then you quit. Even that can be really positive in the long run. I mean, there are degrees of like, if it's really toxic, maybe it's not positive in the long run, you have to do all this other stuff. But I think, you know, learning steps of like, you know, do I want to do this job? No. Okay, I'm going to switch to this. All of that can lead to a lot of growth in the sense of you learn so many different things that then will influence whatever you're doing at that current place that you're in, you know?
Yeah. And I think a big part of it is being okay, like, you know, that horrible thing that you're going through is going to have, like, it's meaningful to what you're doing right now. You know, it's like we were talking about your cycling trip, and you were talking about how it sucks, you know? It's like, you actually don't like it, you know? But there's, like, meaning in just being in a ton of pain on a bicycle. You know? You're like, oh, it's worth it for me to be in pain. You know, you rode 60, 70 miles today, right? It's, like, worth it to be in pain because then you get to, like, meet new people, hang out with, you know, go see amazing things, go on this cool adventure.
You found yourself alone on the climb, and I think that's the kind of feeling that people get maybe meditating. I never been able to meditate because I get distracted, and I mean there's other people that have that feeling.
Sprinklers.
The beautiful of
Honestly, I hope the sprinklers point at us at some point.
Oh my gosh.
That would be so funny.
That would be a situation. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It was the sprinkler. And some people found that kind of peace and transcendental experience just going to the movies. So, of course, life is not just about that kind of experience. You have to experience even the practical stuff, the everyday stuff. You just need to pay the bills and to say hello to your neighbor you don't like. But you need to cut a piece of your life and be able to do this kind of things. I wanted to ask you something about the online posting, because you said it's a kind of a diary. I can understand that the podcast doesn't exist unless somebody's watching or listening to it. But you could have a diary even if you wouldn't put the drawings and the illustration online. So is it the feedback still something you want from your audience and your social contacts, or it's just like I want to share, but I don't care how it is received by other people?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've gotten a lot of work through posting things, or not a lot, but I've gotten work through posting things, like a lot of different jobs. And so for me, I feel like I have to post because it's like a consistent way to keep, I guess, growing as in freelance work. And I think I don't necessarily want to say like, I think I always worried that like I would, you know, that you sort of like will kind of gear toward what people, this is, I don't even know how I can word this. I think with a lot of social media, there's like a tendency toward, you know, drawing what you see or doing what you see. I've seen it in fashion design and other things where it's like everyone sees one thing online and then they all try to mimic it. And it's normal. It's like it happens naturally and everything. But I think social media has definitely like increased that tendency. And so
right, like you start to draw what other people draw.
Yeah, or what's popular, or what will get you likes. Like, and I think that was something that was like, you know, I don't want, and I have friends who've gotten like, who got a little bit obsessed with like just getting as many likes, getting as many followers, and I just I didn't want to fall down that, I guess. I just didn't want to worry as much about that.
Right.
And so, because I think it can get you into like a negative mindset. If you don't get enough likes or you don't get enough followers on something, I think it can lead to just feeling lesser than, which was what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, that's fun. Like, I don't, I think that's the difficult thing of like, you know, your value in terms of self-worth, and it's a, I don't know, slippery slope of
seeking validation.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone I've talked to, I've met people with millions and millions of followers, and they're like, dude, I'm depressed, I'm self-conscious, you know, I'm like, I don't feel like I have enough money. It's like all these different things, and it's like, I've realized that there's never an amount that is enough, you know? It's like once you have $1 million, having $10 million sounds really awesome, and it keeps going from there. And it's like, okay, it's like, you know, somebody once said to me, it's like, be happy then or be happy now, you know, and you really do have the choice to try and be happy now. But it takes that sacrifice of, like, you actually have to stop caring about the likes that you get on Instagram. You actually have to, like, you know, choose to spend the way your time, you know, you'd spend your time even if you had an infinite amount of resources. You know?
I don't think, I mean, I'd like to, but I don't think it's possible to stop caring about the likes you get. The only way to win is not playing, I guess. I think that two of the most happy people, the happiest people I know, my best friend and my brother, they don't have social account in any place.
Right.
And they really can't understand what happens to us when we feel the urge to post something. And I mean, for the use I've always done of the social network, I just found I'm using there to be passive aggressive, I guess, in a lesser way, but still I really know who I want to see that. But sometimes I just don't want to go in the direct way because it's a way to expose yourself. So you just put there maybe to try to give the impression you're living your best life.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I want to share a lot of stuff on Instagram right now about my travel, in the stories or in the pictures. But then I just think that it's another chain because I mean, I can't get what I'm feeling through the Instagram, and I just know that I would put the stories to get my former girlfriend to eat her heart out, to make my friends jealous, and so I just kind of stopped to use that.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's a little bit disappointing because I used Instagram as a diary too. I mean, just to fix a moment, and
document.
To be back when maybe I forgot about that. But the feedback and like system makes toxic all the thing, and it can have consequences on my humor. And I think that was not interesting if I don't get enough likes, and that's crazy. I mean, I've just
right. It becomes not about what you're doing; it becomes about the validation that you get from it. You know? And I think like even I've noticed it. Like I really care about the way I'm seen. You know, it's like I don't share any of like the bad parts of my life at all. You know, like if I have a bad day, like if I'm depressed for whatever reason, I'm just not going to share it. So people get this false idea of the way I spend my time. You know. It's like people, I get these texts a bunch where it's like, oh, you know, I'm sure you're on some great adventure right now. And it's like, no, dude, I'm at Starbucks, you know. Like, I'm eating, like, or I'll be like, you know, or I'm alone in my van eating fast food. It's like, okay, that's not, you know, that's it's not all my life, but it's definitely a mix of really cool things and some really lame things, you know. And I don't know, I think it's a really scary thing to put all your validation in social media, because then you start to check, you know, who's liking what, and, you know, who's viewing your story, or, you know, it's complete nonsense. You know,
you start thinking just about your life as content to give to someone else, And
how do you monetize it? Right? It's like, oh man,
it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe, sorry.
Oh, as you're saying, it's also like that whole like measuring of if I'm good enough on like a number of levels, and like that's a really, I think a dangerous road to like find yourself going down, which because it's just not healthy. It's like you are good enough, whatever, just do your own thing.
Well, I was talking to Eric. So we went to the same art school, and we had a teacher named Eric Gist, and we were talking about how if you want to be an artist, you are generally looking at the best artists because that's what gets you interested in art. So you're not comparing yourself to the top 30 or 40%. You're comparing yourself to the top 0.00001% generally because that's who you care about,
Yeah.
So it's like, you're always comparing yourself to the best people, which is insane. Like savants, people that will spend 16 hours a day painting, and then there's this expectation that maybe you have to do that, and maybe you really don't want to do that, It's like a... there's all this pressure to be somebody that you aren't, right? And especially in Southern California, like you get people that are making $300,000, $400,000 a year working on movies or more, and it's like, you might be the most successful person in your entire friend group, but then your friends are making $2-3 million a year or something, and it's just it's that pyramid climbing, it's a never-ending rat race of having more and comparing yourself.
Well, we were kind of talking about this at dinner, the whole idea of like this like wealth is our religion, basically. That it's this drive for like more in terms of and just everything, like more, like how you need and it's cyclical in the sense that you do need you need money to do things that you want to do and that you like to have an experience, to like go anywhere, and even though maybe going after it doesn't even make you happy, and it's like then you just like are in this
vicious cycle,
full loop of going back through all of that, which
I think it's tragic. It fucking sucks.
It does.
I know, it's strange. It's strange. It's like you're from Italy, right? Like you live thousands of miles away from us, and it's like you're having this problem too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is a universal problem.
Yeah, I guess it's from like, our generation, and I mean, I don't know what's the English term, but we in Italy we always talk about this precarietà. It means that you don't know where you will be in a month or in a few years. I mean, our parents, I don't know your parents, but they had a job when they were in their 20s. They bought their house, they had a car, and they kind of know what since almost the start what was supposed to be their life arc. Right now we really don't know if we will be there, if we will be here in a few years, and if we'll have the money or we are going to be on the street.
And I mean, again, we live in unprecedented times where we have we have COVID to worry about, obviously. That's this weird, bizarre thing. But then we have the internet. It's like, and when our parents were kids, to be able to communicate with their friends, it's a matter of sending a letter, Now it would take like 2 weeks to get to them, and then they'd send you a letter, and maybe it just doesn't arrive because somebody pours coffee on it. But it's like, if I wanted to talk to my friends in Europe or Asia or Africa or anywhere right now, I just send them a text, and they get it instantly. You know, it's more convenient for me to do that than to like go next door to a neighbor and knock on their door and ask to hang out. And like I guess it's a cliche that a lot of people say, but we're both the most well-connected generation of the ever. But then we're also like, I don't know many people who are friends with their neighbors, like who are comfortable walking up to people on the street and like having a conversation,
It looks like this thing that you can be connected to everyone in the world in every moment. We lost the ability to accept the things we don't like in people. I mean, I don't like my neighbors, but if they were the only choice, I mean, I could make that work. But right now we are just always trying to go in our niche with people like us, and that's the problem with the bubbles on the internet. And you finish for just hang with people like you, that thinks stuff like you.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's very true. And you're fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I mean, I guess I know all my neighbors though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. So.
I'm like writing I'm doing illustrations for one of my neighbors' books.
Nice. Okay.
I made friends with mine.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I'm glad to hear someone's happy.
the girls that lives the floor up mine. She was in elementary school with me.
Yeah.
And now she hates me because she asked me on a date when we were 18.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I say to her, no, I can't because there's the AC Milan soccer match.
Oh no.
Yeah, she asked me to go to theater. You can't ask a 18-year-old boy to go to theater. I mean, there was soccer. And she never recovered from that. No. I swear, the last time I've met her, she was shopping groceries, and she attacked me physically.
What?
And she makes me bleed from the ear.
Oh my God.
Strapping one of my strapping. It's not English. Sorry.
Passionate Italian.
I know. I was gonna say.
Jeez, man.
But still, well, I know my neighbors, but I'm not doing what you're doing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess it's when I was living in New York City, I would be a couple. I talked to my neighbors occasionally, but I didn't know them. I didn't invite them over, and I've been in situations in my life where I have been friends with my neighbors, but it feels like it's becoming rarer. The people that I do know.
Now that I think about New York, I spent the last few years in this 30-habitant village in the mountains of Tuscany, and I actually became friends with everyone there. Right. But that's because, well, I hadn't internet, and maybe that helped.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were just few, so we. There was this woman. She every morning used to go to buy stuff at the only shop in the village. So she passed by and she say hello and she start chatting. And I mean, if we were just us 30 people, you get to know them. Of course, in a big city with all the people closed inside their flats. I mean, I don't know the name of my next door neighbor in my same floor in my building, and it's there since I don't know 30 years.
Right.
I don't know his name. I was ashamed once he told me we can go ride together because he's in cyclism as well.
Yeah.
And he gave me his number, and I didn't know how to save him because I didn't know his name, and I didn't want him to know that I didn't know his name. Right. So I just tried to say.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. I guess his name is Luca.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you not being sure, the embarrassment of not knowing.
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen where I'm like, I was like, wait, I know we have a mutual friend, so I just didn't say their name, and then I went online after and I looked it up and I Google searched them. I'm like, oh, I'll find this.
Okay, yeah. Now
so
I know your name.
Yeah. Not that no one will know who that person is though.
Yeah, well, they're totally watching this. Yeah.
I'll send it to them.
They're outside. They're over there actually. They just overheard you.
Like, Ren, what?
Where are you? I thought we were friends. Jeez.
Yeah. To be fair, I never remember names, but I always remember faces. So I'll always remember what someone looks like. I'm like, I know who you are. I just have no idea what your name is.
Yeah. I will remember somebody's preferred League of Legends character before I remember their name. It's completely ridiculous. The
one thing you're supposed to remember, and it's no.
Right.
I know your traumatic experience as a child, but your name.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I'm trying to do is I really believe that, so something I've been trying to believe at least is that there's an infinite amount of meaning and things to do in just your normal day-to-day life. It's often I'll choose, I noticed I'd be in the Grand Canyon or some awesome place in Yosemite Valley or Montana or Dakotas or wherever. And instead of, I've just mentioned this on the podcast a bunch, but instead of enjoying those places, I'd be watching Hearthstone videos on my phone or something, it's not the place ever. I think it's always me and my inability to see the meaning there and my fear of like wanting to put myself out there, you know? Because like if, you know, I was in the Grand Canyon and I was like, oh, I can either go on this hike or I can like sit around and do nothing. And I did do both. I did hike a bunch and I did a lot of nothing. But the fact that it wasn't all amazing adventures was just like, you know, that would have been better. I would have remembered it better, you know? It would have been like something that made me a more well-rounded person, you know?
But I don't think everything is all adventures. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's good to like try and like take every day, like, you know, make an adventure, like enjoy in the present, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like there are days where you are, you know, your brain just needs to be like
just
cozy and veg and just chill, and that's okay too. I mean, I think like I don't know who said it, I can't remember who it was, but you know, that just it's so good sometimes just to be bored. Like I think it was John Cleese who talked about like the best ideas come sometimes like when you're being bored and like when you're not doing anything and when you're just like walking and nothing exciting's happening, but you're just able to like sort of, you know, sit in your own thoughts.
Yeah. Right.
Which, I mean, you do have to turn off social media for that, because then, you know, that kind of negates your ability to be bored.
Right.
But I know, like, when I go on, like, long, because I'll do, like, you know, 3-hour walks or an hour walk or whatever.
Yeah.
And I try to do those daily, and I always have, like, the best idea that comes up during that time. Like, I'm sitting at, like, you know, trying to think of stuff at my desk. I'm doing all this, but it's like that walk is always like, oh, duh, yeah, that's what I want to do. And so
Absolutely,
I think you have to allow for those moments, and, like, you know, they're beautiful in their own like simple way. And
you never regret it.
No, never.
But there's still that resistance and that fight of like, oh, I don't want to go for a walk. You know, that cupcake looks really good. You know? Wow, it's like TikTok is awesome.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Yeah, TikTok is awesome, but sort of, but
dangerous.
It's very dangerous, but, I guess it's trying to like be the kind of trying to see as much value in the world as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you can find an entire lifetime of meaning just by studying a leaf, you know, or a single flower, or, you know, and it seems like most of everyone's life is in like low resolution, you know. It's like you really can't pay attention to mostly everything, so you have to focus in on some things, and it's complicated, you know, it's strange.
Yeah, you have to make choices at certain point. I mean, sometimes you think I'd like to see all the world, but you can't see all the world. You would have a lot of lives just to see how it was to be, I don't know, a chemist or a movie director. And you live, I mean, in your adult age, you live with the knowledge that you just have one life. And, I mean, it's scary to think you're maybe wasting on you're not using it at full power your life. There's a lot of things you maybe...
Scary, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean... you told me you are 27. I don't know, how old are you?
Like 400.
Yeah, she's a witch. She's a vampire witch.
Necromancer too, right?
Yeah.
And well, I'm in the middle from between 400 and 27. And I still, I mean, I'm already regretting things in my life. And it's crazy to think about, because I mean, in our generation, to be on your 30s, it's just like be on the 40s in the old generation. But still, sometimes I woke up and I think that my life is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and not because I'm not doing stuff, but because my choices have designed a path for me.
Absolutely.
And that's the path, and I'm just going on that path.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm trying to get rid of that feeling in myself. That like, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what to call it, but that like self-depreciating or self-hatred, you know, that like, I'm not good enough. I didn't like that decision that I chose wasn't correct. I'm not being most efficient, or I'm a loser for not going on more adventures, or, you know, all that stuff. It's like complete nonsense, you know? It's
really interesting. My mom, like I think it was a few years back, gave me this book called Intuitive Intelligence. It's honestly like, I really loved it, and there's this whole question, like it's all about learning to make the right choices at the right times and trusting your intuition, trusting your instincts, kind of thing. But it listening, and it kind of is like, well, you know, it asks a lot of those questions, like what, you know, there's so many options. Am I following the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Like, is this the way my life's going to be? And it sort of has you like kind of look at yourself and ask yourself, like, what, I think there's like 13 questions. And one of them is like, you know, what do you value? Like what do you, and it like asks you to list things out. Like what do you value most? Like what do you spend most of your time thinking about?
Yes.
What do you spend most of your time talking with others about? What do you spend most of your time talking with yourself about?
Yeah.
What do you spend, like, try to ask questions to kind of like force yourself to examine, you know, what do you really find value in?
Yeah,
like what are the things that you want to, like what are the things that you actually what do you spend doing in your daily life? And it's like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I think that doing that and like reading that book helped me sort of, you know, decide like, well, you know, I'm wasting my time thinking about all these things that, like, why am I doing these? Why am I doing this kind of work? Why am I doing that? And it just kind of made me go, okay, well, let me just put all my eggs into, you know, into that basket. Cause like what, you know, it's one life, like whatever, let's just do it.
Well, eventually you have to choose.
And you have to make that choice, like to pick something out. And there's always like the room to change and grow and move along that path in other ways. Like you can reevaluate your values at a certain point, of course, always.
Right.
But it does help. It helped me at least solidify a lot of like my intention behind a lot of things, which I think that's always the key word. Like, what's your intention?
Absolutely.
Like, in anything you do, it's like, why are you doing it?
And not judging yourself for that intention.
Of course.
I think that's the most important part. And I've had so many existential crises over the past 2 years. It's so weird that there are people like in the Amazon right now that are like they're cutting down sugarcane to ship to Iquitos to be able to make 10 soles off. You know, it's like that's $4, like $1. You know, it's almost nothing, right? And it's like, and then there are people somewhere, you know, at like the Tesla factory making Tesla cars, and they're making $3 million, $40 million a year. You know, it's like some absurd amount of money, and it's like every kind of person exists, you know? And the fact that anyone is anything specific is just so bizarre. Like everyone I've met that is poor, like like third world poor, not like American, like they make a few $1,000s a year kind of poor, you know? They're smart people. It's not like they're dumb, you know? And there's some, like I meet dumb rich people, and it's like, okay, what's the difference here? Like like why is this person rich and why is this person poor? And, you know, again, it's like, it's such a weird existential thing to think about, you know? Yeah. Like maybe the things that you care about it's actually like your destiny in a sense, you know, or it's like the idea of God or whatever way that means, giving you a purpose in life, you know? It's like the fact that you can really care about drawing or cycling and you're choosing to do that over literally anything else is like, you know, that's, I don't know, I think that's like a really important thing to pay attention to, you know? Like the fact that you've made a value judgment, like it takes a lot of money and effort for you to do these kind of things, but in spite of you knowing that you can make more money just getting really into cryptocurrency or something, or it's like, you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to, you know, sleep in the desert, you know, in a tent, you know. It's like, yeah.
Surrounded by hogs.
That's so fucking awesome.
Or sheep licking you.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, I would pay if there was a place in my city that lets you be licked by.
Do you guys have goat yoga in Italy, or?
Sorry?
Goat yoga?
I used to.
Yeah. Okay.
But I stopped it because I was going with a former girlfriend.
Okay, got it.
And,
yeah. Goat yoga, right?
Or are you just talking about yoga?
I'm talking about goat yoga.
It's where
no.
I'm surprised.
What's goat yoga?
So it's yoga with goats. So while you're posing,
oh god,
they just have like little baby goats.
Yeah. No, it would be awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I was surprised. It's like wow.
No, I thought go was the verb.
Yeah. I thought like you were like it was a common thing.
No.
It's like it started in Italy. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah, origin of goat. Yeah, you actually are the creator of goat yoga.
Yeah.
Just bring it. See, there you go. Bring that back to Italy.
Yeah. I can make people pay a lot of money for workshop of Go Yoga.
Nice.
See, we are already monetizing on something.
Monetize the podcast.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that hustle culture that we've been thrown into.
Yeah.
Or grew up in, I should say.
I mean,
You don't have a passion, you have a side hustle.
yeah, everything is a
That's the
side
thing.
hustle.
Yeah.
Everything is a side
Dude, I was I can monetize my podcast now, and I was really excited. I made $8. Oh yeah, dude! Nice, paid for half of my dinner.
It's part of the mystic, the foundation of the big tech company in the garage. We started from $8.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, that's like my band is like can't even like.
I can kind of.
Yeah. But,
It's mostly my hair that's hitting it.
oh yeah, right. You do have very big hair.
I
so,
do.
yeah.
Full of secrets, right? That's
Nice.
the
Yeah, that's where you capture the souls of the of the innocent. Yeah, no, I think it's like I'm trying to get to a point in my life where I'm completely okay with the way I'm spending my time. You know, it's like I've been traveling for so long that the idea of me not on some crazy adventure is like I'm like wasting my time. You know, it's like I have like a commute now and have to like do meetings and you know have like a primary care doctor. It's like it's fucking lame. You know.
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I don't know. It's I guess fundamentally just trying to express gratitude for what I have, you know.
But it's also like trying to find, I think, maybe the value and the adventure in that, you know, in that day to day. I know when I was in like Routineville, I would just like I would take like different ways to work, even if it made me late sometimes.
Yeah.
But it would just give me like something, just like doing something to break the routine, like trying to just, you know, like explore where you're at now.
Yeah.
Because there's always something interesting around. It's just, you know, like turning your eye to it and finding it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if in Italy was quite a big deal because everybody went crazy about it. The episode of Rick and Morty where Rick transformed himself
into a pickle.
Into a pickle.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah, pickle Rick.
I don't know if you remember that in the end he reached the family at the psychologist studio, and what the psychologists say to him, it's actually that's life can't be adventure all time. Sometimes it's just the boring stuff.
Right.
You need to just maintain and repair, brush your teeth, go to the toilet.
Yeah.
And I've read a book about that. It's The Pale King, maybe it's the name.
Right.
And it was by David Foster Wallace, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a book, it was 800 pages just about boredom. He tried to write a book about boredom because
That's not Infinite. That's his other book, not Infinite Jest.
no, it's Infinite Jest. It's even bigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one's even bigger.
And
I couldn't get through
it
it.
can be, but it's part of his arc on his reflections about the entertaining system and the boredom system. You say that boredom is the thing we experience the most in our life, and because it's kind of death-like feeling, and
it's painful too.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen those studies where somebody would be in a room, and they're in a room, and then there's a button they could touch that will shock them, and like everyone in like 30 minutes will touch the button just to have like they're either doing nothing or they're like having physical pain, and they're like, oh yeah, I want the pain way more than the boredom, you know.
It's hard to deal with boredom, and that's why we are always trying to escape from that. Maybe just scrolling the feed. And it's other boredom. Sometimes you just I call the black hole when I'm watching TV and I start scrolling Instagram, and maybe and it's 2 hours later.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
kind of like I said, I love boredom. I love I'm like full in. I just think because I don't know, I really enjoy my
maybe
I do too, but it's also
I mean I love boredom just when it's following a full
a
moment.
Yeah,
I mean if your life is just boredom, I mean you're not living. But I think one of the best moments in my life is the afternoon when I woke up really early and I go cycling and I'm tired and there's nothing to do. I'm just looking outside the window. That's good because I'm feeling the boredom.
Yeah.
But when boredom it's everywhere around you, well, that's
different. Well, and I think also like how I'm thinking about boredom is maybe different than how like to me, I guess maybe boredom is just like quiet reflection time, which I really fully enjoy. But like to be bored in the sense of like you're stuck in a situation. You can't, like, you're just, there's like nothing. I feel like that's almost like it leans into a little bit of like when in like a depressed mode or something, like that absolutely. Kind of, that is definitely not fun. I don't enjoy those times. That's like a so that's why I'm like, I think there's like almost like I guess maybe calling it silent reflection, like not silent reflection, but just reflective moments of quiet are really different.
Something more positive, than boredom. Because boredom is so broad. It's like boredom encompasses those quiet alone time and the dark soulless.
Like existential, like...
I'm a loser.
I could dive in deep into that portal.
Well, and it's, have you guys ever seen Parks and Rec? Ever? Okay. Well, so there's Rob Lowe's character is this like person who's like super happy all the time, and there's a joke about him like I can't stop moving, otherwise I'll fall into an infinite pit of depression and sadness. And it's like I think that's part of the reason like a lot of people are always on the move is just to like always have something to do, so you don't have to think about it's not necessarily not think about your life, but just not be so self-critical. It's like I talked to Eric about this. Eric, guest, our teacher, he's a brilliant artist, but he's like, I asked him like, hey dude, do you ever feel good? He's like, no, I don't. Like shit all the time. It's like, oh wow, shit. Like
and I think these past few years with COVID have really, I don't want to say exacerbated, but maybe made people realize, because it has forced people to slow down. It's forced people to sit alone possibly, and really like reflect on a lot of that and be in that state of like not good boredom, and and I think, I don't know, just seeing a lot of the commentary from that has been really fascinating, like allowing like more discussion around mental health and what like that, maybe you aren't happy. Maybe you aren't happy in your current situation, and thinking about maybe trying to find ways to fix that, or like figure out what it is that would make you happier. I've seen a lot of that, like a lot of reevaluation. I think these past years, like everyone I've talked to, at least, like all of my friends, it feels like have reevaluated a lot of things these past 2 years in terms of just like where their direction is, like what they're doing, and like
like who they are.
Completely. Every kind of question you can ask yourself is like has been asked, I feel like. I think a lot of people for a long time felt like, oh, I have to go into the office, I have to commute, I have to do all these things, that's how I'm going to be successful. And then suddenly you don't have to do that, and it's like, oh shit, like I'm still as successful as I was, and I don't have to do all those things. And it's like, I think that at that point there's a giant void that's filled in your life, because it's like, oh, I was spending 2 hours a day commuting, now I have 2 hours, I have like 10% of my day back, which is like, that's a lot of time, You're gonna say something, or?
Well, maybe that's the problem you face when your identity is the things you do, and just the things you do. I mean, maybe it's one of the problems of our generation, but to be without any clear identity. But if someone come here and say to me, your identity is to be a cyclist and doing stuff, doing this kind of stuff, I will deny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what I am.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be confused with the things, what you are, what the things you do. But when you are used to think about yourself in a certain way since for a long of time, I mean, maybe these are people that were working for 10 years in that way, and you then start to think that you are that thing and you can be anything different.
Yeah.
And when they change your routine and the things you do, you say, what am I?
Yeah. Well, I think all this stuff always comes back to like seeking discomfort intentionally. Not. I mean, I think there's a huge difference between discomfort that's taken on intentionally and unintentionally. Like when it's thrust upon you without you asking for it, it can be traumatic.
Oh,
and horrible.
100%.
You know. But when it's like it's taken on, it's like I'm choosing to do that. It's like okay, like it becomes something that's a lot less scary. It's something you can actually manage, and I'm trying to, accept as much discomfort in my life as I'm willing to take on. You know, like there's plenty of, I hate public speaking. I hate putting myself out there in general, and it's like, but I'm trying to take my own baby steps to get there because I don't think there's any other way of becoming a better person. I have to do those things, and I realize that it's actually really fulfilling. It's really exciting. It's like my podcast, again, has been like a really weird project and experiment because it's like I never thought anyone would be interested in what I have to say, but I found out there are some people that are interested in what I have to say. It's like, okay, if I just keep doing it, like what happens? Like, does it become massive? Does it just cap off at some point? And it's like either way, I want to see. I'm like curious about the outcome. And that unknowing, that all the discomfort that goes around it, all the like scary parts, that's the thing that's actually exciting to me about it. Nothing about the money or the fame or any of that kind of stuff that might come from it.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the right way to think about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're having fun doing it, that's also like, you're enjoying it, even though it's discomfort, like, it's not necessarily comfortable. It's like that you're still like willing to just keep going, and you're finding it's probably become more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like Lord knows, like we joked how I was very anxious about the idea.
Do you feel okay now? Or?
I'm honestly, it's not,
right?
It's not as scary.
Well, the idea of it is like I was terrified, just joking around and.
Yeah, well, because we joked about it because you're like, you should just do it. I'm like, no, you keep doing it, Christian. I'll watch, but nice. I'll come on and say hi. But I think it's great. I think that's a great mindset though to have is like, take on a little take on a little discomfort. I think, just like, put yourself into the deep end a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't go all the way. Like, just don't like. Be careful, but like allow yourself a little bit of,
leeway.
Yeah, just try it. Just put yourself out there.
And I think that's a big part of that is getting rid of your ego too. It's like not taking too much too soon. It's like maybe you cycling around the world and doing 300 miles a day is too much. It's like okay, that's but like, there are people that try that, but
what it scares me about the discomfort I want to experience, it's that sometimes it blends itself with some nihilist feeling. I mean, sometimes I really feel alive just when I'm so close to be dead under the snow. It happens twice in the last year, and I think it shouldn't be like this. I mean, a little bit of discomfort, it's okay, but
not all the time.
I mean, I don't know why I want so much discomfort. Maybe it's because everything always looks average in your life, because we are always comparing ourselves to the top, as we say. So you want to do something extreme.
Yeah.
But I think you should be able to enjoy the boredom moments, the regular moments, and
yeah.
And I say that as someone who used to like throw pins on my bed so that I wouldn't sleep.
Oh man.
I was so like I believe
totally
that you need to like tone that down. Like don't do that. Like it's okay. You don't have to like
absolutely. And again, it's being okay with failure too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you take on something that's too ridiculous and too crazy for you, it's okay to be like, never mind, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's, you know, if you were to be like, I'm going to do this crazy, I'm going to walk to Antarctica, you know? Yeah. It's like, and then you're like, I don't really want to, I might die. It's like, okay, that's the right decision to, you know, if you really don't feel like it's, you know, the right challenge for you, it's totally okay to admit that. And,
okay with it, you know? For sure. It's okay to back out of it. Like, like if you're like, this isn't working, you know? Yeah. It's okay to quit. Yeah. Which I think is a thing. Like, you know, I think that's especially true with people who are, you know, going after like a dream job or something. They're like, no, I've wanted this since I was a kid. I can't quit this. This is what I need to do. And it's like, this is what I've been like planning for and working towards. And then realizing it's not. Yeah. It's, I mean, that happened to me and it's like, it was eye-opening. I was like, oh, okay, you know, am I a failure because I didn't want to keep doing this? It's like, no, it's okay. Just quit. It's a long life. Yeah. Go do something else and you'll figure it out. And like, I mean, obviously I was very lucky in the sense that like, you know, I don't have kids. I don't have a family. Like well, I was very young then too. So, but you know, I think those things can always, you know, add on challenges, but I think it's just another challenge. It's not impossible. Yeah, you know?
Absolutely.
Should we say hello to the neighbor?
People have come up to say hello.
Have they?
I think I was saying before, there was a couple that had hitchhiked around Africa that came up to us. And, they were like, talked to us for like 30 minutes and they just like joined the podcast. Actually, I have a sign.
Do you?
I stepped on it, so but recording a podcast, come say hi.
Cute.
I'll put it here just in case somebody. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I want to make this as esoteric and crazy as possible. This whole podcast thing, you know. I want to make it weird, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to somebody like I want to get a porn star on here at some point. I want to talk to them about like what their experience is, you know. It's like where they tie their identity to, you know. It's like how they feel about themselves, how they feel about their families, and you know, it's like I want to talk to people about that kind of shit, you know.
I know someone who worked in the industry, and I don't know if he'll be willing to.
I would love to talk to.
And I'll see if I'm still in contact.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's I think I mean, people are people, you know, and you know, it's one of those things where
interesting stories. Everyone has an interesting
right.
You know, you just dig a little, you find it. You know, everyone had. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, everyone has something to share. Something interesting to say.
Yeah, I would have Alex Jones on my podcast. I think, just to have a conversation with him. I don't subscribe to anything that he believes, but
I miss Fu.
Yeah, Alex Jones. Oh. Are you familiar with him?
He's the one who thinks that like. What was it? He like turned the frogs gay or something.
Yeah, that's
stupid. It's like that. It's that me. He's like a complete. He's
because some of these
like a shady business dealer trying to make money.
Some of these characters arrived in Italy. Some not.
Right. Well, I guess you know he's known for just being a far right.
Like extremist.
It was quite famous. Theorist. The guy with the dyed hair, with the Greek surname, I can't remember.
Oh, you think about Guy? Yeah, you think about Guy Fieri. No, that's a chef.
No, he's the chef. And someone told me I have the same hair.
Yeah, Guy Fieri.
He's the mayor of Flavortown. He's the mayor or the I don't know.
The God Emperor.
The God Emperor of Flavortown.
God Emperor of Flavortown.
No, it has Greek. surname? Milos
Milo.
Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Milo Yiannopoulos.
He was the
right?
Breitbart.
And
Yeah,
then
that
the
guy,
other
yeah.
guy who did the debate with Slavoj Zizek, but I can't remember his name as well. Right
Jordan
now.
Peterson? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
The
God.
lobster guy, yeah.
Oof.
Those
are vibes.
I have something to admit. I like Jordan Peterson.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I have. It's a long conversation.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a character.
I think,
to say the least.
I think he's misunderstood, and I'm saying that I know exactly what everyone says about him, but I will stand by Jordan Peterson. I think that Ben Shapiro and all those other people are crazy, but Jordan Peterson has some positive things to say. But
okay.
But you could totally disagree with me on that.
Oh, I do.
I totally
It's
understand.
okay.
I totally understand. Totally fine. But
I mean, again, it's like I only know the awful sound bites. I've never felt the need or desire to listen to him because I know there are more interesting people to listen to.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
if he has some nuggets of wisdom, I've never heard them, but that's you're allowed. You're allowed that. Of course you are.
I guess we don't have to talk about it.
It's okay.
I guess I think he's taken out of context a lot. That's like he says a lot of stuff that is ridiculous out of context. But again, I mean, I want to try and talk with as many people that share different opinions than me as possible. Because it's like the more I travel the world and meet people, the more I'm like, wow, I'm like an idiot. I'm not actually an idiot, but I know almost nothing. It's like so many different perspectives I'm just completely unaware of. I guess that I think that everyone has something about value to say.
I mean, I think it's a healthy mindset to think. I don't want to say think you're an idiot, but to think you don't know everything. I mean, we don't. Hell, I don't. I'm an idiot. I think I'm dumb as bricks half the time. But I know a few things, but I'm still dumb. I'm still willing. I think that whole mindset, willing to learn, willing to keep yourself open and to not shut down, be like, oh yeah, I know that. It's like, if maybe you do, but there's maybe someone knows something more than you and they can tell you something cool. But I don't know. That's I think a healthy mindset to have.
What they may miss in actual knowledge, usually they can make up with their arc of life sometimes. I mean, just listen to somebody's story. Maybe, he will not teach you anything about something, but it's so an enrichment for me usually. That's one of the things I cherish the most when I go traveling. I mean, everyone, if you really if you're able to let them be open with you, you find out there are crazy stories, and that every human being, it's crazy to say, but
everyone has some
something
stories.
crazy and some huge stories.
It's infuriating. It's crazy.
We are here together right now because a person made us know. And she has a quite crazy story. His father is Italian, but he's from a part of the world that's not Italy anymore. And they came here, and she has an husband, and she had two children with another man. And if you have the will to listen to this person, you find out that even the person you think is the most shallow person in the world has something really interesting to do.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that's part of the human experience. Is you don't really have to look far into anybody's life to find some some horrible tragedy, and two, some profound, crazy experience that they've gone through. It's I don't know. Even people we walk past in the street that don't even look at, homeless people. It's their lives are hard, and they're harder than mine. That are in a lot of ways they're smarter than me. It's oh man. It's there's so much to learn from everyone else around us. And the only way we ever get to have a chance at learning from those people is opening ourselves up to them. And putting yourself out in the world in some small way. which is, it's always risky.
Yeah. It's difficult. Well, it's difficult, I think, to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's difficult to be open about things like that are personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are traumatic, that are, you know, any number of things.
And in the last few months, maybe the last year, there was a lot of spread of the word and the concept cringe.
Yeah.
But actually, half of the things that people say it's cringe is just people opening up.
Yeah.
And of course, you can feel cringe because his feelings force you to deal with feelings at all and your feelings as well, and you don't want to deal with feelings usually if you're sad or if you're not okay with your feelings. Absolutely. So if someone say even the smallest thing like oh, I love so much my dad with a cheesy picture, and someone say cringe, that's not cringe at all. I mean, I can understand why they are saying cringe, but actually it should be a value to be able to express your feelings, not a value to be able to be a stone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think there's value in being like, like loving and passionate about anything. Like,
absolutely.
I think people always like rag on someone because like they're so passionate about something. It's like, oh wow, they're crazy. Like, it's like, no, they're just passionate about something. Like, do you feel as much as they feel about that one thing? Like, do you feel anything close to that about anything? Because like, that's amazing. Like, that you can be that dedicated to, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times they're ridiculed for it. And it's like, you know what? If like, if they're not harming anybody with their passion, like, that's the key. They
have the gun passion.
I don't know. Like, if they're not harming anybody, like, what's the problem with that? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. Like,
absolutely.
And so, I was talking with my cousin, and he's like, he always like made fun of anyone. Like, he was one of those people that was like, anyone who was like super passionate, he was like, oh, I'm too cool. It's like, it's this whole idea of being too cool to like be that passionate about anything. And I'm so happy to see like this resurgence of like being happy about being passionate about something. I feel like a lot more people are being open about that and sharing it the past, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how many years it's been, but you're seeing more and more of it, that like it's accepted and like acknowledged. And, you still get the people who say cringe and whatever. And, but I honestly, I'm like, if you're passionate about something, hold on to that, because
absolutely,
this world can get dark enough. Like, you might as well have something that you love and are happy about.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's. We're talking a little bit about the NFT thing, and
isn't it? I was.
Well, I guess the reason I'm saying that is it's like I think the fact that it causes controversy makes it interesting. It makes it worth talking about.
Yeah.
It's not meant to all be comfortable. It's meant to be something that's like challenging. It's like, if you disagree on something, that's great. That's like the best thing. It's like you can share ideas and maybe like become a better version of like ourselves, and I don't know, it's like me doing this podcast for me is very cringe. Like, I say a lot of things and I'm like, oh, dude, I regret this. Like, this is gonna come back to haunt me, And it's
I'm already feeling that.
I can't escape it, So,
Nobody that I know will ever see or listen to this podcast.
You mean you're not gonna like link it and share it?
But they don't love me so much to spend an hour listening to me.
Well, I have 1,000 subscribers.
My mother calls me quarfo. It's a mistyping of the word fourth in Italian, because I'm the fourth child.
Child.
And so she will not listen.
Oh no!
No need to say ciao, mama.
Oh man. Yeah. Jeez. Oh man. This is Dario's mom.
To this morning, I was in the mountains with no cell phone coverage, and I had just a glimpse of coverage, and I saw call from a very close friend. Yeah. And so I just ran on the mountains to go to go where the phone was on the internet, because I thought she was in need. Mm-hmm. And when I called, she said, "Oh no, it was my son. He called you by error. He's a 2-year-old son." Yeah. And that's the story of my life. Everyone that calls me by mistake.
By accident.
Yeah. And the worst part parties when they had to talk to me.
Right.
I say, no, I didn't want to talk, but now we are at the telephone, so
no,
I just have a
So
5-minute conversation. Yeah.
Again, it's such a strange part of being a person. It's like, you can't escape wanting validation, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah. As much as you like kid yourself, like I don't care.
I mean, I think validation is an important thing, but you need to find validation where validation is good. I mean,
that's the point.
Your parents must validate you, but in a certain way, not tied with your results in life. They must love you, whatever. And the people you like must validate you, but it always has to be in a healthy way. I mean, validation is a way to build our identity, to mirroring each other. Of course, when validation comes from people you don't know, they are thousands on the internet, and you start searching for their validation. So what was supposed to be something that build your identity is something that it's actually destroying your identity. I mean, maybe you tomorrow find out that people likes you more when in your podcast start speaking about something you really hate, or acting in a way you are not. And if you start searching for this kind of approbation, you
Well, again, it's like I'm actually really careful to talk about Jordan Peterson. I do actually think he has a lot of good things to share, and I mean, I really do believe in what he has to say. And part of me mentioning it is like trying to be honest about that. You know, it's like I have had people before tell me like, dude, you should really question your beliefs in that. And it's like I think I've done enough research to be like, okay, I think I'm right about this. And it's like, you know, I don't want to change any part of who I am and what I believe to, you know, accommodate other people's beliefs, you know. And I think his, you know, when it and the reason I'm mentioning this specifically is like I want to reserve the right to be wrong, you know, and I don't want to ever let anyone that, you know, like I don't ever want to let a YouTube comment determine my personality and what I believe, you know. And again, it's a complicated thing when you start to gain a lot of momentum. Like, if my livelihood started depending on what I say and don't say, that's when I start to like.
You change things.
Can't help it.
That's one of the problem about making a living out of something you really like. I mean, if you then have to, I did cycling travel once, and I had money and stuff from Action Cam brand. But he wanted me to do things I didn't want to do, some videos, some Instagram posts, and of course I did it because he paid me. But I mean, you need to find a good
the balance, right?
The balance. But when your rent and your bills are on the line, will you be able to do that? Or maybe to grow too much, it's impossible, just because, I mean, you know that you won't find balance. I don't know.
It's complicated. I don't think the correct ratio is ever going to happen, you know. So,
I mean, I think the best thing is always just to like be open to new information and always like be learning and like listening. You know, never set your belief too hard in stone.
And
are you gonna be able to post this? I feel like we're going like way down a rabbit hole.
I love this shit. The backier, the better. The more.
I was not prepared for that. I don't have my note cards of like how to debate.
The more controversial, the better. I want to go off the deep end. You know? I want to get canceled for talking about shit. You know?
I don't.
But
we're okay. We are on the right side.
I'm walking the dangerous side, especially in the art world.
So close to be cancelled.
Again, I don't believe a lot of the stuff I'm arguing. I'm making sure that both sides have a perspective heard. But
You're trying. It's okay. We're just having fun.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, I'm high on ramen.
Nice. And it's like, it always goes back to like, freedom of what, like freedom of choice, freedom of belief. I like, when it comes to my personal beliefs on abortion, it's not something I'd ever recommend somebody do. It's like, it's going to hurt your life.
For sure.
It's like, you don't want to do that, but like, I think it should exist mainly because of freedom of choice. Like, people shouldn't be able to tell another person what they do with their body. You know? Shouldn't be able to tell somebody if they should get a tattoo or not.
Yeah.
Or, it's like, but part of it is also like, okay, we do have lines in society that we do draw.
But does that, I guess it is then, should freedom of choice trump, should freedom of choice like be more important, which I personally think it should be more important than your freedom of religion, like your religious.
In some cases, yes.
And I think it should in this case, because obviously, like, let personal freedoms. And this is where people will then start taking, like, some weird slippery stuff and saying, well, can't I do this then? It's like, well, I mean, there's laws still. Like, don't do that. But also let people have the free choice to.
Yeah.
What do you think about, someone is going to get an abortion.
Yeah.
And it's just the woman decision inside a couple. Should be the man involved a little bit, even if it's not his body. So, I mean, I'm the father, I'm the mother. Did you get what I'm
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like, I think that's a really...
It's a really tough question, right?
Well, I don't, because it's the woman's body. She's carrying it.
Right.
Like, if she doesn't want to carry it in her body, I don't... I mean, you could say, yes, well, the man has the sperm, which is part of it in her, but... there's a we don't have the high mortality rate for birth anymore. We don't have all of that, but it's still there. I think.
I guess part of it is if a man is required to give financial support for the rest of his life, that's part of it as well. It's like, I think again, part of the argument for a man having some say in whether a woman should get an abortion or not is like, okay, if he's going to be required to pay child support and all that kind of stuff, should he have a say? And the answer is like, maybe. It probably depends. That's probably the closest thing you could say.
I mean, I feel like a lot of things, there's a gray area for a lot of that. Like, I also don't, because I think like a woman's body, it's like, freedom of choice. Like, it's my body.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, I'm the one, she's the one, I'm never having children, but like, she's the one carrying it.
Yeah.
And if that should really,
right.
I think it should be up to her. But I can I can see where like you're thinking that like it's for me, I think that's it's hard not to like side with that as like a woman, like
absolutely.
Well, as a as what I am. I don't know what I am.
Person.
As a person, like I think it's just, but for women, I think it's just like, it's hard for me not to just like side with them automatically, like regardless of bias. Like obviously I feel like maybe a man has a different take on that. Yeah. Because, that's there, but I don't know. I think it's hard for me not to just say like,
well, I think that there is no correct answer to all this stuff because it's so messy. It's like,
it's really messy. It's really gray.
It's like Yoda said, only a desist deals in absolutes.
Yeah.
It's like there is no like blanket statement for any correct thing for anyone. It's like go to college. It's like not for everyone, not for a lot of people actually. It's like that shouldn't be a blanket rule in general.
No.
But for a lot of people, like some people that are probably out there that would want to mandate college degrees, we do mandate algebra and we do mandate learning the alphabet. So why not mandate more education? It's like, I understand both perspectives, but like, it's also kind of silly, it's like,
not everyone should go to college. Not everyone needs it.
Yeah.
Not everyone, like there's other kinds of schooling. There's other kinds of work. I don't know, to require that, I think is just part of the whole system of like the money system sometimes in the U.S. specifically. Like,
right.
Everyone needs to go to college. It's, You know?
Yeah. Well,
it's like, that means colleges make more money. So
Yeah.
that means administrators make more money because it doesn't always go to the professors or the teachers,
Right.
especially not the adjuncts. So,
Well, and again, it's like, I think that
like,
often the people making the abortion decision, whether like on a macro legal scale or men, you know, it's like, that's the government, U.S. government is mostly controlled by old men, you know, it's like, okay, that's probably not correct, you know, there should probably be more representation, but at the same time, it's like, how do you make that representation happen? Do you like it's through voting, obviously, and correct voting, but how do you get young people to vote? It's like, people aren't interested in voting, so it's like, who has the money? It's like, oh, it's the Mormons do. It's like, okay, this is weird and messy and complicated. And, you know.
I mean, once again, though, it's all related back to things that are like not compassion based.
Yeah.
Which is like what kills me still. But, you know, it's like just empathy based, like thinking of how other people feel. It's all about how they'll feel. And that's what this is like, or how like their religion will feel about something.
I disagree with that, because I really do respect my Mormon friends. They're like good people, you know, and like they'll feed me, you know, talk, and they would like, I'd love to sit down with all of us together and just have this conversation, because I'm like playing their side, and I believe closer to what you believe than what they believe, but it's like, you know, like I don't know what Brian Mark Taylor believes in any of this stuff, but Brian Mark Taylor is a Mormon.
Yeah.
And, a bunch of like.
But that's compassion for like someone else's choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not necessarily saying like, I'm not saying like, you know, let them, you know, practice their own religion in their own way, but like be compassionate about someone who doesn't believe what they believe, wanting to make a different choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I think this stuff all relates back to I think everything relates to art fundamentally in some way, and facing fears and stuff, where ultimately somebody's going to disagree with you, you know, no matter what situation you're in, you know. Yeah.
And so not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
it's fine.
Yeah.
As much as you might hate it and freak out about it.
Yeah. It's like,
people aren't going to like you.
And it's like being okay. It's like, oh shit. Like it's like, you need to be okay and actually choose to be disliked if it means pursuing the things that you like doing, you know?
Yeah.
And pursuing your beliefs as well. Like, you're going to have people that disagree with you at some point. Yeah. It's just inevitable. And are you the kind of person that's going to back away? And, you know, like, I appreciate that there are people out there that fundamentally disagree with me on, you know, abortion or, you know, political stuff or art or any of that stuff. It's like, without them, like, you know, I don't know if the world would be worse or better. You know, it's like,
I mean, if everyone believed it was okay that gay people get married, I would say the world would be
I think there are some topics that you maybe just need to be on one side. I mean, sometimes they are just fake dichotomy. I mean, before you mentioned the Blue Lives Matter sign, I mean, why one should put that sign on? Is someone really hating the police? Or are they experiencing 200 years and more of institutional racism? Is the name?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's just a way to create polarization.
Yeah.
And so there are some topics where you just need to sit on the right side.
Right.
And I'm not shy to say that's one right side and wrong side.
Right.
And I mean, will be one judgment we are going to have. It's the judgment of people that are coming after us. And I mean, sometimes I think that on some topics they look at us like crazy madman. I mean, just like now we watch two people that were burning women on the branches because they thought they were witches, and we say what were they thinking? And that's
well, again, I mean, it always goes back to like freedom of speech and freedom of religion is dangerous, and I think that it's worth having them, but as a result, you get people that like. I was listening to a lecture about the witch burning specifically, and if you actually believe witches exist, like people that go and take babies and sacrifice them to the goat devil, it's like you should probably get rid of those people. yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, jeez.
Head out here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, but, like
I do goat yoga.
Yeah.
I do. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, goat yoga. Yeah, drink goat milk.
Babies for breakfast.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, geez. Yeah, I have the right to do that.
We say freedom of religion, but actually we should decide what religion is, because it's something that deals with your spirit and your beliefs. I mean, if it's something spiritual, you shouldn't care about some other stuff.
Yeah. Well,
is it just if religion is just about to make contact with the transcendent and with the deity and with some kind of god, whatever god it is, it's a different thing that to rule your life that should be done by the government, and that's why religion shouldn't say how to conduct your life, to act your life. At least not in a practical way. It should give you just values. So you are free to believe in some values, but you shouldn't be free to of course impose that values and
inflict them. No, just hard. Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Sorry, I'm talking slow. I'm
you're
quite fainting as well.
No, you're great.
We've been going for like 2 hours.
I could not even come close to doing that in Italian. So I think it's absolutely brilliant. So
I'm gonna check out for how long we've been going for. We've been going for 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh gosh, you're gonna definitely cut that though.
A little bit.
Oh no!
I released mostly everything.
Oh god!
I want to get canceled.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that to yours.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson.
Oh
Nice.
god! No.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson. He's awesome. Monsters. I hope that we could remain friends in spite of my.
I mean, maybe.
Oh,
we'll see. No. I'm. Yeah.
No.
I actually, to be honest, I've only heard sound. I don't know enough. I'm just not gonna even. I don't want to discuss it. I guess I don't know enough.
We could have a private conversation about it, because I think it's a really slippery slope to. I understand people's criticism of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. And
I only actually just learned about. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
But then I think he was on was he on that? What's his name? He was on another podcast and he made some stupid remark.
On Joe Rogan?
Was it Joe? I don't know. Is Joe Rogan? Yeah, that's where I saw that and I was like, oh my god.
It was a climate change
asshole?
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the first time I've ever heard of him.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, where I'm at. I don't even know. And then I've heard, like I said, some other bad things. I looked up who he was and I was like, what? Oh, fuck this guy. And then just peaced out. We don't have to go into this, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think I understand people's criticism, but I think, it's, I've listened to a bunch of what he has to say, and I think, okay, that's reasonable. Yeah.
But see, don't you think, that's also, not to, go back into another, it's 2 hours, I think we're probably done, but don't you think that's also, an issue, though, is that, you get a lot of people's, on YouTube and everything with, podcasts, you get a lot of people's opinions who don't necessarily know everything, and they spout their opinions as facts, and then it changes people's minds so that they believe those opinions as facts then, without actually, when they're not actually a scientist, or they're not this, or they're not any of these things, but they just are saying stuff.
Well, in Jordan Peterson,
people who listen, I don't know shit.
Don't listen to don't listen to me.
I don't know anything.
I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
and so,
a bunch of idiots talking about.
So so that's why isn't that kind of sometimes the issue, is that these people who aren't experts, or whatever an expert is, but they're not who knows how knowledgeable they are, but they're spouting off information like they are knowledgeable, which is then people then think they're knowledgeable because they're broadcast everywhere. and then they believe that stuff, and isn't that whole... Ooh, I'm probably making a lot of noise doing that, right? Isn't that whole, like, kind of...
pseudoscience stuff,
Pseudoscience,
right?
like, not just pseudoscience, like, just in general, like, they'll make comments, like, about the vaccine stuff, like, all of that, like, kind of... then it just spreads, and it's, like, complete... I mean...
Jordan Peterson is vaccinated. I'm
not talking about that, but I'm just saying in general, like this whole like I guess it's misinformation campaigns.
Well, I think again it's a really complicated thing. Like we don't have to go into another 2-hour conversation.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I guess in
bring another rabbit hole down here.
Yeah.
Like let's just dig in.
In Jordan Peterson's case, I think that he does have a PhD in psychology. He taught at Harvard, university professor for 30, 40 years, and he's done a lot of profound work on a bunch of this stuff. And, I've made a point to read every criticism about him. And I really thought about everything that, every single criticism that's been placed against him. I think a lot of them are really valid, but I think a lot of the ones that people know him for are valid if you believe what he said to be true based on just the soundbite. But generally in the context of everything else he's saying, it's like, okay, there's like a truth there that is being left out of what he's saying fundamentally, again, I think that's the problem with a bunch of these issues is that abortion cannot be explained in a minute. It can't be debated in a minute. Neither can voting or civil rights or any of this kind of stuff.
Nothing important can.
And I think part
really,
of the
it's important. You can't really just like make a quick little slogan to make it.
I think it's important
easy.
to talk about it in this way. And I think like the problem with our modern media is like either like both sides. There's plenty of long format content, but if you're going to listen to a 2-hour podcast, you're only going to listen to like one a day at the very, very most, or one a week, right? So you're listening to one perspective, but not necessarily the other, and it gets like maybe like a confirmation bias or something.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much Facebook is known for this.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
If you're in the Deep South, you get shown hyper conservative stuff, and if you're in Southern California, you get shown.
But you only get shown that stuff. So you stay in your confirmation bias bubble of like,
Absolutely.
everything I'm reading is, everything I'm hearing, everything I'm seeing is right, because this is what everyone's saying.
Absolutely.
Who I listen to. And I think that's really scary. But that's the algorithm, which we kind of touched on.
Well, and again, in Jordan Peterson's case, I think that I've listened to some Michael Dyson. There was a debate with him and Jordan Peterson. And Michael Dyson is a very liberal person, like very, very far on the left. And I think he has some reasonable things to say. And, again, I think it's really important on either side to get the perspectives of everyone that's talking. Because, I think when somebody's just written off as a crazy person, that's when it starts to get really dangerous. Like, if, I use Ben Shapiro because he's like the most obvious, like, polarizing person on the planet. Like, he actually represents a huge portion of hyper-conservative religious people that do actually exist in this country. It's like, okay, those people, like, Trump almost won again, right? Very, very, very close. It's like, I don't know that many, I'm not friends with that many Trump supporters. It's like, but that's like half the country. It's like, okay, like, what do we do with those people? Do we, like, obviously the option is, like, don't kill them, like, maybe listen to them, I think it's like...
or just feed them new information in an algorithm, because they're watching all those YouTube videos.
Yeah, right.
Just give them some other stuff in there, like, let them see some other point of view.
Well, I think it's like, people only have so much time in a day to really consume stuff, and I've made a point to drive through the Deep South and, do all that stuff, and I understand, like, I have some family in Nebraska, and they're hyper conservative, and they voted for Donald Trump, and I asked them why, and they're like, Donald Trump's view on water and how farmers receive water is way more beneficial to me than Obama, his view on water. So that's why I voted for Donald Trump, It's like, okay, that perspective makes sense. Like, it's for their business, it's for their livelihoods, And what they believe is that they provide all of the food for their country, which is true. Maybe not them specifically, but their kind of people. Like, without farmers, McDonald's can't exist, and without like farmers, then none of our jobs can exist because everyone will starve to death. You know, it's like okay, they have a perspective, and so do people that are like, don't vote for Donald Trump because he's a racist, sexist, whatever. You know, and the problem is, I think, is that neither side talks to the other side. Which it's complicated. But.
Well, it's work. Honestly, I
don't want to put in the work. I just want to ride my bike.
It's a lot. It's a lot of heavy work.
I'm not the person to talk about this stuff.
No,
I actually make an effort. Like, I didn't vote. I don't vote in local elections. I just refuse to be involved because I think it's like people won't talk to me if they learned I voted for either side, and it's like I think both sides are incorrect and correct in both ways, and like I wouldn't vote for Donald Trump, but I think that saying that Biden is much better it's like messy, It's like there are plenty of things wrong with either side that, it's like, okay, what do you do about that,
I mean, I think that's a dangerous argument to make, considering he was like selling information to like other countries.
Yeah, to Russia. Yeah. Again,
I think that's a messy argument to make, at least again. Like with Donald Trump. Like you could say that about maybe another, like some other conservatives, but like that.
I guess it's.
I think he's like an outlier in terms of like some of his beliefs in terms of like.
Well, I think part of the problem again.
His ideas. We don't have to go down this rabbit hole either, but.
Again, it's messy. It's like Obama at a point in his presidency was drone striking innocent people. It's like, okay, it's not good. It's. I think that anyone in power is corrupt to a degree, and Donald Trump. I think the people that should be president will never be president because it's like. Bernie Sanders never had a chance, and he's probably the correct, Anyways, it's been forever. It's been a while.
No one is going to get to the end of those.
Yeah, if you do, please don't.
Please don't.
Me. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about, so you know, it's cool.
How should people follow you guys?
Oh, they won't want to. No, I'm just kidding. This way. No, Ren Attack is my handle on like everything, so just Ren Attack.
And mine is Puppies Move Cool on Instagram is my handle.
Wait, okay, Puppies?
Cool. Puppies Move Cool like this. Wait,
Puppies Move Cool?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I'll put a little link or something down here.
Because I don't even know if it's written with a Y. Okay, like this.
Oh, Puppies Smooth Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Poppy Smooth Cool. Nice. Sick.
Yeah. I was like, just random guys, like, Poppy Smooth Cool.
Poppy Smooth Cool.
They are just bicycles.
Oh, nice.
Italian man.
No, there's some drawing as well.
Nice. Oh, hey.
Heck yeah, dude. Oh, that's cool. I like it a lot.
This is my friend Ale Martens. He's a really great artist. He
that's cool.
did our stickers for the previous. Oh yeah. Have you seen I've been in California before?
Oh, nice.
This is a place right outside my Milan.
Yeah, that's funny. Wow.
I'm always wanted to come here, and now that I'm in California.
Now you're here, and on a podcast. Discussing.
A
2 hour long.
The last installment of this podcast.
I'm about to get. Oh shit! Oh,
we made it fail.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that was probably like an hour in. Who knows who will listen all the way through.
People do. So yeah. If you disagree with me, I tell people who disagree with me, please message me. I want to hear your opinions. I really want to talk about this stuff because I think it's important. Like,
it's all about discussion, having an open, safe discussion and a chat about why. How you change minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Sick.
Well, hopefully in the right direction. That's fucked up too.
1,000 more listeners for Jordan Peterson from tomorrow.
Yeah, you have the freedom of choice as long as it's the right choice. Right?
What is it? Yeah.
It's true. Okay. Here.
do I do? Is this? Oh, I'm sorry. I have like rings on.
Okay.
These will hurt.
Here, do it. Nice. Cool. Oh, thanks, guys.
I really,
I'll cut it there.
I'm really
Okay.
cotto, as we say in Italian. It means cooked, baked.
Cooked.
Yeah.
Sono cotto.
Yeah. Okay. We had it in 15 minutes.
Oh my god. We were all over the place.
Yeah.